First came the Cancer Angels, dropping from the clouds and unfurling their tumorous wings to soar clumsily over the trenches, absorbing bullets and flak until they burst and rained down unholy spirochetes and pus. The soldiers' prayers quickly changed, from hymns of holy defiance to pleas for deliverance as their flesh bubbled with afflictions, their bodies becoming breeding grounds for a wonderful panoply of plagues. As they fell and seethed with rot, their corpses bloomed into parasitic hounds that loped toward the retreating front lines, terrifying in their silence. Then came the Plague Knights in their squeaking, clanking, stinking armor. Bullets spanged off the rusted plates, holes punched through the metal-bled sewage, ripe with fermented illness. When the explosive, armor-piercing rounds of sniper priests blew off limbs, the silent figures didn't even stumble. Trench pilgrims plowed into their lines with bayonets slathered in holy oils, but the knights' huge, rotten claymores hacked open their blessed armor and sowed 1,000 varieties of vermin in their meat. Behind them came hordes of resurrected corpses, some sawing out giddy dirges on instruments they'd once played to pass the dreadful hours, waiting for whatever horrors hell was going to throw at them next. None spoke or sang, even those that still had tongues. They praised the putrefactors with the miasmas leaking from their wounds, the maggots spilling from metastatic wounds. Shells fired from artillery miles distant exploded among their ranks, pulping hundreds. And swaths of napalm dropped from martyr bombers incinerated thousands. But not even fire could cleanse the pandemic soaked deep into earth. As the battle waned, a procession of excubitors crowned with ticks came tramping through the feculent mire, making way for a lord of tumors and his wheezing retinue. What ground was not already infected was sprinkled with pus from his gurgling masses. A fog of engineered bacteria rose up from the boiling ground, spreading a stench that not even a mindless acolyte of the beast could stomach. The dead men, animated by demonic pestilence, began to claw at the walls of the trenches, pulling down the filthy mud, patting it down into a flat square paved with their own bones. More lords came forth to surround the makeshift stage, anointing it with foulness. Led by torch-bearing corpses, a squad of choristers came forth. Without a word, they took their places. With dull knives, they sawed through their necks, decapitating themselves in full view of the Lord of Hosts above. Their plague-thickened blood crawled up from the rough stumps to form blasphemous sigils that rippled the air like heat with the fury of their affront. As the choristers offered down their shriveled souls to hell, a brace of naked witches, their skins whitened with chalk made of ground-up bones, formed a circle in their midst. Now came a sound. A shriek like incoming shells or a cage full of damned souls screaming, and the familiar wet pops and cracks of flesh transforming. The witches' bodies flowered, bowels spilling out to become tentacles, bones locking them together. The air tore open, and more flesh emerged, sucked up from the deepest pit of hell. Miles distant, in their observation posts, horrified spotters fell to the ground, their brains pierced by the sight of what was forming, as if their binoculars had become pistol barrels. with a complicated scream that shredded reality and blew the grinning lords and choristers into clouds of flies. The horned and howling first apostle rose up like a mushroom cloud of foulness to preach its caustic sermons to the poisoned wasteland.